Temecula's Old Town embraces its pioneer-era past with boarded sidewalks and Old West-themed storefronts. But that's not all. Look a little closer and you'll see that the historic buildings sport informational plaques and markers put in place by the Temecula Valley Historical Society.
The Temecula Valley Historical Society was founded in 2000. It was part of Temecula's general plan, and our mission is to identify, preserve, and promote the historical legacy of the Temecula Valley and to educate the community about that legacy.
Why is it important for cities to retain their history?
For me, the history really grounds us and helps us feel a sense of belonging to our community. Also produces some introspection on our part of what we want to leave to those behind us. There aren't very many cities in Southern California that have the same kind of historical legacy that Temecula does, and that really brings a great ambiance.
The Historical Society's first project focused on preserving the tomb of Louis Wolff, an influential entrepreneur and landowner in the mid to late 1800s.
And that was important because it is such a marker. Now it's kind of fenced off, it's in the middle of a neighborhood.
A group of passionate Historical Society members regularly portray actual notable men and women from Temecula's history, complete with costumes and personal stories.
The notable men and women, we're very proud of them and grateful for those who do that. They represent historical folks of Temecula, and they do a performance as that character. They have done a lot of those on Zoom this year. They are recorded and they can now be accessed, and they can be invited out to your group. We have projects that members have worked on. There is the Highway 395 project, which has funded markers all along that old highway. We also fund scholarships in the Valley for students who are interested in history. This year we have committed $8,000 to college scholarships. We also have a DVD that is done by Malcolm Barnett, who has passed away, but is a descendant of one of the Temecula pioneers. And so over the years, we've been able to preserve those reminiscences, the memories, the history, and put it all together.
Is there a building or area that wasn't preserved in the past and you wish it had been?
We call that our disappointments. And the most recent one was Butterfield Square, which was down at the south end of Old Town. And although we weren't able to preserve it, they allowed us to go in and remove historical fixtures and items that could then be repurposed or be reintroduced into the new development.
If it wasn't for those dedicated to history preservation, other parts of Temecula's storied past would have also suffered the fate of the wrecking ball. This is what almost happened to Vale headquarters before the Historical Society was in place. Here, among the meticulously restored buildings, you'll find Louis Wolff's store, the oldest existing structure in Temecula Valley and the home where he lived with his wife Ramona. You can also walk on an original section of the Butterfield Stagecoach Trail. In 1905, Walter Vale built his ranch headquarters here, but after the land was sold in the 1960s, all the buildings fell into disrepair.
So we saw an article in the newspaper, a letter to the editor that said the building should be torn down. When my husband, Daryl, and I read that letter to the editor, we decided we had to respond immediately. If all these buildings were torn down, then all this history would be lost.
The farm box joined forces with other concerned citizens, and after a lawsuit, the property was saved.
So Article Partners came in around 2010. So they saw the real beauty in what this property used to be and saw how important it would be to the community to restore it, to make it a place where families of Temecula can come and actually enjoy all the businesses.
Vale Ranch is also home to the Historical Society's antique store and Little Temecula History Center, which features unique historical artifacts, including a stagecoach.
By refurbishing this stagecoach down at Vale Ranch headquarters, in addition to our train, our kiddie train that we run, we'll have a stagecoach that kids can get on and ride around and enjoy that feeling of being part of Temecula history.
There is a lot of Temecula history to enjoy, and thanks to the Temecula Historical Society, none of it will be forgotten.